nice and heavy, aren't they? Do you like them?
Yeah. Yeah.
You like rabbits? You like dead rabbits?
The Atlantic International Film Festival carries on in Halifax, and we're very pleased to have in SaltWire studio today Christian Sparks. Christian is the director of the movie that you see the poster right behind me, Sweetland. Welcome, Christian. Nice to have you here. What can you tell us about Sweetland?
Well, Sweetland is a novel, the Michael Crummy novel, a novel I had read and loved, and reached out to Michael's people about optioning it. And I was so lucky to get the chance to work with Michael. You know, it's kind of the quintessential modern Newfoundland story that I think the rest of Canada and the rest of the world doesn't know a lot about. You know, it's a resettlement story. It's about a small Newfoundland town. The government is paying everyone $100,000 to move away. But there's one holdout, an older man named Moses Sweetland, who doesn't want to go. And like a lot of Newfoundlanders, why would he want to go? I mean, you know, you've literally 500 years of people who have lived off the land, fished, made their living, and their whole identity revolves around these small towns and the fishery. And suddenly the government is asking you to move. I mean, you know, hopefully Newfoundlanders will sympathize with with what he's going through and understand it.
This film and the subject matter resonates very much and connects with a lot of Newfoundlanders. I remember several years ago taking my children out around the bay, as we call it, and just going for a walk and seeing some of these coastal communities, these outports that were resettled many years ago, and all you see are the foundations of houses or a concrete chimney, just kind of laying there. And it really makes you wonder what it must have been like for these folks to have to leave. What did you want to get across most about this story and about this man who doesn't want to leave his community?
I guess for me, I just wanted to try and portray an accurate picture of what a lot of outport Newfoundland is going through in 2023. It's so common globally for Newfoundland to be portrayed as a colorful, kind of colloquial, sometimes parody of itself. You know, you watch the tourism ads, you see Republic of Doyle. It's like all the multicolored houses, everyone is so friendly, and that's great. I mean, there's an element of that is true, and those productions have done well for Newfoundland. I'm very happy about that. But there's another side to Newfoundland. You know, outport Newfoundland is very quickly fading away, and it's not coming back. A lot of people's livelihoods and histories are kind of literally falling into the sea. And people don't know about that. You know, when the cod moratorium happened, 30,000 people lost their jobs overnight. It's the largest industrial layoff in Canada's history. Newfoundlanders don't all know about that, let alone Canadians. So if I had the opportunity to kind of tell that story in a poetic, sublime way and work with some really talented actors and to get to meet and work with Michael, I was only too happy.
There's a scene in the film where Moses is with his nephew, and he's kind of in this long grassy area, and he's just laying down, and he's got kind of this really just kind of calm look over his face while his nephew plays off in the distance. And then you hear the voice saying, you know, something to the effect of, it doesn't get any better than this.
Who's got it better than this?
Who's got it better than this? How much does that scene just sum up the entire kind of feel of this film?
Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of alt posters. That's the image. That's the first still we had. That's the image that plays just before the title card. It was important for me to create in the prologue of the film a moment where we see the beauty of the landscape and what the main character Moses and his nephew have to lose. And so by them lying in the grass, just hearing the ocean in the distance, feeling that kind of very slow pace of life and the kind of wonder and beauty of nature, I mean, that's Newfoundland. That is what it's all about.
Such a great cast, as you mentioned, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention two in particular, because I've had experience previously chatting with them, would be iconic Newfoundlanders, Mary Walsh and Andy Jones. What was it like to work with them?
Oh, it was great. I had actually worked with Mary and Andy both before on short films and other projects. Like most Newfoundland kids, I grew up at home on the couch, cup of tea, watching Codco. My older brother Dave, aka Davy Gravy, we call him, he was always great at impressions. He would do Saturday Night Live, he would do Church Lady, he had a repertoire of a bunch of good ones, but he also would do all kinds of the Budgels and all kinds of characters from Codco. So it was, you know, as a Newfoundland youth, you loved Codco, you love these people. And so there's always that moment when you first meet them when you're younger, where they feel a bit larger than life to you. But very quickly, they're just artists and collaborators, and you get on the same page, and it was wonderful.
And for those that may have never experienced Codco or the House of Budget or Friday Night Girls and all the others, highly recommend, yes?
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube now too. Yes, look up old Codco clips if you can. It's it doesn't get much funnier. Those people, a lot of very talented people.
And at the end of the day, this is some serious subject matter. As I said, it's going to resonate with a lot of people. And as a filmmaker, you have a vision and you know kind of what you want the finish line to be. When you saw the finished product and you knew what you were going to be putting out to the audience and to the viewers, what was your best hope that viewers will take away from this when the end credits roll?
I don't know. I mean, first and foremost with the movie, I guess you hope people are always entertained and you hope they're moved by the art that you've tried to create. As we discussed before, I hope it gives people a little bit of a deeper appreciation of Newfoundland's history and modern day Newfoundland, and maybe lets them understand, Newfoundlanders in particular, where they're from, who their ancestors were, maybe where they're going,
And I should mention as well, you and I were talking beforehand, but this is kind of a little bit of 6 degrees of separation. You and I, different periods, but grew up kind of in the same area of West End of St. John's. What was your childhood like growing up? Just real quick.
We did, yeah. We grew up, so funny, it's truly a small world. We grew up about 100 feet from one another in a place called Sesame Park between Boring Park and Leicester's Farm.
Yeah.
And I always tell people I had a real Huck Finn type lifestyle because I grew up next to Boring Park. And so, it was definitely days of, setting fires in the woods, literally building rafts, sailing down the river in Boyne Park, swimming, getting up to no good. It was a great neighborhood to grow up in. And
if there's any relatives or connections to Leicester and the Leicester's Farm, sorry.
Sorry about what we did to your property, but it was we were kids.
Last thing I'll ask you is, of course, you just got back from Toronto and you're here now in Halifax, but after this, where can people find this film? Where can they access it and watch it?
It's going to be on a streamer. It's being distributed in Canada by Game Theory Films. So it'll play theaters and then it will be on streamers. I'm not sure which ones yet. It's funny, I know all about the writing and the making of the movie. When it comes to selling it, sometimes I just tell me where it's going. I don't even fully know yet myself. Well, we'll help you do that through SaltWire distribution as well. How's that? That. Christian Sparks, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing Sweetland. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Okay.